Hi, this is Heather Brown, and today I want to talk a little bit about resistance. So, have you ever tried to start a new habit, or maybe you're thinking that you would like to do some healing work or let go of something, and then reasons start to pop in your head, or blockages, things happen that maybe make it not possible for you to do that, or suddenly you're like looking at your schedule and saying, oh, I'm too busy, I can't do this right now. That likely is resistance, and that can come from within ourselves, and it actually can be frustrating, but it comes from a good place. It comes from a place that's usually older, something that protects you and has your best interest according to what it thinks your best interest is in mind, of trying to keep you safe and protected. So this could be something that as a child, when you were in a situation, gave you what you needed, that support and that protection. But now that you have evolved, you're an adult now, it's maybe not as helpful. You can handle more things now, and you can go through hard things. You have the emotional intelligence to understand things in a different way than you did when you were a child. And so now perhaps that resistance isn't as helpful. And so if you're trying to start a new habit and you keep on having trouble getting going, getting it started, sticking with it, or like I said, if you're thinking, oh, I want to grow and heal, and then you have 3 million excuses pop up, and they could be real things. I mean, they are real reasons. Chances are you're bumping into that resistance. And so a lot of times what we tend to do when we find resistance is like one of two things. We either try to fight it, try to push it away and just ignore it and do it anyway. And oftentimes that means it'll keep coming up, it keeps showing up, and not really leave us alone, but we can still move forward and we can still do things. And people do that all the time. It's a bit of a wrestling match. And then the other thing that might happen with resistance is that we kind of give into it. So, we get those thoughts in our head of, oh, I'm too busy for this right now, or, oh, I will start my new habit next week. Next week will be better. It'll be a better time. All of those thoughts. So resistance is coming in as thoughts. And we put it off and we put it off, and we never really reach our goals. We never get started. We never, start our habit or whatever it is that we're doing. So those are usually the two things. And so I want to give you a third option for when you're having that resistance come in. So first of all, noticing it. So if you have had a thing that you've been wanting to do, whatever that is, and you know in your heart, in your soul, that this is what you need to do, and it's going to be so good for you. It might be really hard and challenging, but that on the other side of that, you're going to feel so much more whole, so much better. So if you have something like that, and you realize that things have come up that have stopped you from doing that thing, from starting that habit, from reaching that goal, or whatever it is, then this is a good idea to do, is sit with it for a little bit, sit with those thoughts, let them come up. I keep using too busy because that's an easy one. So I'm too busy. Okay, I'm too busy. What is that really saying? And then I invite you to spend time in a conversation with your resistance. And this sounds a little silly, but it's actually a psychology technique. And if you just use your imagination a little bit and roll with it, you'll get some good results, and you'll be able to have some powerful conversations with your resistance. So get out your journal, and you would start by just writing, I would like to talk to the part of me that is resisting starting this new habit. And you would obviously be specific in what you wrote. And then whatever thought comes into your head from that, you write the other side of that conversation. So, you can say, why is it that you're showing up right now and stopping me from starting this new habit? And then it might say, well, usually when you start these habits, you get really stressed out. And so then you can write back, okay, that's true that I get really stressed out. However, I know that if I finish the habit and I'm able to, have it be part of my life, it's going to reduce my stress. And then and this is a pretend conversation, right? Like you're going to have a totally different conversation with your resistance. And you're doing all this by writing it down, by journaling it, not by saying it out loud, because that accesses a different part of your brain. And I don't recommend typing it. I recommend handwriting it, okay? And so once you do that, the other question you can ask is, you can ask if it has a name, like resistance, like, do you have a name you'd like to be called? And it might be, let's just say protection. My name's Protection, okay? And now ask it, when was it that you first showed up in my life? And then you're going to start to get some memories. And it might be like, I showed up when you were 7 and you were, on the field trip with the other students and you were feeling lonely. You're going to get some stories coming up. And just keep rolling with it. And then you can ask it, I appreciate that you're protecting me, and always being grateful, because that resistance really does, like I said, it's trying to have your best interest. It just doesn't understand you anymore. It doesn't evolve with you. So it showed up when you were 7, let's say. It didn't grow. You grew. You gained emotional intelligence, and all kinds of other skills and support. You have different resources than you did when you were 7. It didn't evolve. It's still functioning like you were 7. And so you need to give it a new purpose. And so if it wants to protect you, now you can say, is there a different way you could do that? And have that conversation. And so give it a try if you're facing resistance. And if you want any support working through that, please let me know. I'm happy to support you and help you, navigate that conversation. If you're trying to do it and you're feeling stuck, there are some tools to get unstuck and be able to have that journaling conversation with your resistance. But the first step really is awareness of what it is, that it's not that you're too busy, that it's not that it's going to be a bad thing for you to start that new habit, that it's not whatever reasons, excuses are going into your mind, that it's resistance and it's trying to protect you. And if you know in your soul that this thing you want is really going to be good for you, then it's really worth having the conversation with that resistance. So that's my little tip about resistance, and please reach out to me if you need more support, and have a beautiful day.